the respected lecturers, and our dear students. Welcome to the Undip Global Classroom, or UGC. It is such an honor and pleasure to have all of you joining this session today. Okay, my name is Chita Fitria Putri, and today I will be your moderator for this session, and it is a pleasure for me to accompany you all throughout this event. Well, today's program is part of Undip Global Classroom. It is a new initiative of Universitas Diponegoro, Indonesia, in supporting its vision toward becoming a world-class university. So, Undip Global Classroom is an international online lecture program that invites distinguished academicians, researchers, and professionals from various countries to share their expertise, knowledge, and also the global perspective to our students. And for today's session, it is organized by the undergraduate program of Occupational Safety and Health, Faculty of Public Health, Universitas Diponegoro. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for today's topic, it is an industrial hygiene support in emergency response. This topic is highly relevant for occupational safety and health students, especially in understanding how industrial hygiene principles play an important role in emergency preparedness, hazard control, exposure assessment, and worker protection during the emergency situations. And we are truly honored to welcome our distinguished guest lecturer today, CS Dr. Ismaniza Ismail from University Teknologi Mara, UITM, Malaysia. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Good morning, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Sita.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Ismaniza, for accepting our invitation and you spare your busy time to join with us in this session. Okay, before we begin the lecture, let me read a brief of curriculum vitae from of Dr. Ismaniza Ismail, and I'd like to share uh, the CV. Wait a minute. Okay, as you can see in the screen, Dr. Ismaniza Ismail is a senior lecturer at University Teknologi Mara, UITM Malaysia, with extensive expertise in occupational and environmental hygiene, industrial safety, risk assessment, exposure monitoring, and hazard control. She earned her PhD in Occupational and Environmental Hygiene from University of Adelaide, Australia, a Master of Biotechnology from the University of Queensland, and a bachelor's degree in Environmental Technology from UITM. She has more than 2 decades of academic research consultancy and training experience. In addition to her role at UITM, she has served as trainer, consultant, industrial hygienist, subject matter expert, and visiting lecturer at various institutions and professional organizations. Okay, her research interests include occupational hygiene, environmental health, public health safety, toxic exposure, psychosocial risk, etc. Well, Dr. Ismanisa has produced many journal publications and conference papers and has received numerous national and international awards, including Gold Awards in Innovations Competitions, Best Paper Awards, Young Scientist Awards, and Doctoral Thesis Excellence Recognition. Well, overall, TS Dr. Ismaniza Ismail is a highly accomplished academic and practitioner whose contributions significantly advance occupational safety, industrial hygiene, and environmental health in Malaysia and beyond. And we are indeed grateful and privileged to have her with us today. Okay, without any further ado, let's welcome Dr. Ismaniza Ismail. You have 100 minutes for this session, include the material presentation and also question and answer session. And now it is our great pleasure to welcome you, Dr. Ismaniza. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the kind introduction, Sita. Every time I hear my own CV, I also feel a bit stressed. Like I
Right.
need to live up to that version of me today. But don't worry, today won't be too formal. Okay, we'll keep it practical, interactive, and hopefully not boring. Okay. So let's not waste time. Okay, let me share my slide first. Mhm. Hold on. I can't hear any response. Oh, yeah. Was I muted just now?
Yes.
Since when?
I think you do it on purpose, sorry.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so I'm just about to share my screen.
You're still muted, doctor.
Yeah. Well, okay, because when I want to share my
Oh,
screen, I need to share some audio. And it
oh,
says if I were to do that, I will be muted. Let's see.
oh. Should I share the material from my device?
Here, hold on. Am I still muted? Can you please respond to me after you see my slide?
Sure. Uh, uh, yeah, you're still muted.
Okay. It's because I need to, hold on, yeah. I need to share some audio in my slide. Uh, that's why it mutes my microphone automatically. Hold on, yeah. I'm still waiting to be connected so I can send the file to Chita. Hmm. Or maybe I can just share with the audio then. It's taking time. All right. Let's proceed without the audio then. But when there's no, I'm gonna show videos. That's when we'll have problems then.
Mm. We can already see the screen.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
alhamdulillah.
Can you hear my voice now?
Yes, it's clear.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. Sorry about the glitch. Okay. Before we start, today we're going to talk about IH support for emergency response. Um, so before we begin, I want you to imagine this. Okay, you arrive at a site. Okay, at a site where it may be outdoors. Okay, there's a strange smell and workers are feeling dizzy. Nobody knows what chemical is involved. Okay, so the first question is, what do you do? Can you please type your answer in the chat box? But don't overthink. Okay, I just want you to tell me what are you going to do when you arrive at the site. Okay, you smell something funny, and then people have started to feel dizzy, not knowing what chemical is there. What would you do? Okay, please type in the chat box. And Chita, can you please assist me to read the response from the audience?
Sure, doctor. Okay, students, so you can write the answer in the chat box. If you get any difficulties in writing in English, you can just write in Bahasa. So the
Yeah, yeah,
question from
sure.
Dr. Ismaniza is, bagaimana ketika teman-teman berada pada suatu tempat dan mencium suatu bau atau smell yang aneh gitu ya. Kamu tidak tahu itu asalnya dari mana. Apa yang akan kalian lakukan? Okay, there is already an answer from Ayudiana. She said, I'm
Okay.
gonna protect myself first using medical masks and looking for the source of the smell. Okay. Any other answer?
Right, very.
Okay, Hussein. He said he will analyze what the cause is and then look for a solution. Nice.
Okay.
Any more answer? Okay, from Mrs. Ekawati. Simply squeeze my nose. Yeah,
Oh,
me
yeah,
too.
he
I
said
will do that.
that.
Simply squeeze my nose.
Okay, any other answers?
Any other answers?
You yourself, Chita, what would you do?
Yeah, same with Mrs. Ekawati. The first thing to do is simply squeeze my nose and go away from that side, I think.
Okay. So in other
Okay.
words, some say they're going to wear PPE or mask. Okay.
Yes.
Some might evacuate. Okay. And some who
Mhm.
may be too shy or maybe, just still wondering how to type in the chat box might think
Yeah.
of calling authorities, right? Okay.
Okay. One more
So
answer,
those are good answers.
doctor.
Ah, yeah.
From
Yeah. What is it?
Beatrice, yeah, yeah. She said, I think
Mhm.
I'd investigate the smell, its source, and apply appropriate countermeasures for it. Oh, amazing.
Ah, yeah, yeah, good, good. All those are good answers, yeah. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Okay, in real life, people don't always do the right thing first. Okay, sometimes they go closer, sometimes they try to check first what's going on. Sometimes they underestimate. Okay, remember just now I said that you do not know what chemical is it. Okay, and that's how exposure happens. Okay. All right. So we're talking about disasters today. Okay. And it can be maybe natural disaster, chemical incidents, or even terrorism-related events. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a chemical spill. Okay. It can be from flood events. Okay. Or maybe bioterrorism and so on. And the scary part is that no one can predict when or where it will happen. Yeah. But somehow we still behave like it will happen later, somewhere else, to someone else, right? We always have this kind of mentality thinking that, um, yeah, it's not happening now. Okay, maybe later, maybe not when we are there. Okay. But disasters don't send calendar invites. Yeah. There's no email saying that, hello, I will arrive at 3 o'clock. Okay, please prepare PPE. It just happens, right? That's why it is called emergencies and, disasters. So, preparedness is not just one thing, it's three stages, okay, before, during, and after. Okay. So, pre event is before anything happens. Okay. This is where we train, plan, and prepare. Okay. Honestly, this is the stage people love to ignore because everything looks calm, nothing is urgent, okay, unlikely to happen. Ya, biasanya kita merasa husnuzon, ya, like it's not going to happen. Okay. However, during events, suddenly boom, incident happens. Okay. Now everyone becomes very hardworking, yeah, very concerned, and decisions need to be fast, and mistake become expensive, yeah, because it costs a lot more. You are not prepared for it. Post event, after that, that's when you require cleanup, recovery, and investigation. Okay. And also the famous sentence, next time we should improve this. Yeah, we should do better next time. If it happens again, this is what we should do. Okay. So that picture is of a chemical disaster that happened in Malaysia some time ago. It's called the Sungai Kim Kim incident. Okay, if you search for Sungai Kim Kim, okay, Kim Kim River, you will figure out what happened there. Okay, now no one handles disaster alone. Okay, usually is work together with some other parties. Now we're talking about collaboration between, in Malaysia we have DOSH, the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, the government department governing K3. Okay, we have JPBM, okay, ataupun we call it bomba. Bomba is in Indonesia it's called pemadam, yeah, firefighters, police, medical teams, okay, and many others. Okay, because it is a crucial part of a disaster. People don't know what to do. Okay, it may require somebody to prevent others from accessing the area. So that's why when we require police, okay, we require medical teams to make sure that all those who might collapse or faint, to be attended to. Okay, so when many agencies come together like this, it's either very well coordinated, we can work together, or slightly chaotic. Yeah, because it creates confusion. Who is in charge of what? Why are you here? I'm supposed to be here, but what are you doing here? Something like that. Yeah. All right. Despite all the coordination challenges, the priority is actually to save lives. Yeah, it's very clear. To save life, to protect the public, and to protect the responders. Okay. And in industrial hygiene, this is where industrial hygienists come in. Okay, we may think that hygienists might just be at work, doing assessment and monitoring on site, or maybe analyzing samples in the lab. Okay, but IH is basically someone trained to anticipate hazards, recognize them, evaluate the risk, and control it. Yeah, so all those four basic principles of industrial hygiene. We don't wait for problems. Okay, we look for them before they become serious. All right. We're not just protecting workers as a concept, yeah. This is supposed to be a video actually showing what's going on during the Sungai Kim Kim incident. Okay, um, as you can see on the right hand side. um,
Aplikasikan sedikit. Apabila saya tiba di sini,
hold on. Can you hear the audio that I played a while ago? Can you?
Yeah, yes, it's audible.
You can.
Yes, I can. We
Oh yeah,
can.
that's good. All right. I was wondering that maybe you cannot hear the audio. All right. So this is a news, okay, that was at during prime time, okay, at night, okay, regarding the issue. And as you can see, there's the cleaning team, okay, the responders coming to the site to take some samples of the pollution that happened, the chemical incident. It's a chemical dumping actually, illegal chemical dumping or in the river.
saya perhatikan di sini sebenarnya ia adalah pembinaan kepada jambatan baru untuk Sungai Kimkin, dan saya lihat ada pekerja-pekerja masih bekerja seperti biasa. Jadi saya pun tertanya, anda semua ni tak takut ke sedangkan kira-kira 5 kilometer daripada jarak ini pun ada beberapa, kita tahu ada 500 pesakit, apatah lagi mereka yang berada di point ini. Yang kalau anda dapat lihat belakang, itu adalah point sebenarnya di mana tapak sisa-sisa itu dibuang, dan ini mengalirnya sungai itu yang mengalir akan melalui kawasan sekolah dan sebagainya. Dan berbalik kepada pekerja tadi, saya tanyakan kepada mereka, adakah tidak ada arahan ataupun instruction untuk berhentikan mereka. Mereka kata tidak ada lagi. Jadi mereka meneruskan kerja seperti biasa, yang bagi saya itu agak luar biasa juga, memandangkan ini merupakan point di mana bermulanya pencemaran itu. Dan kemudian apabila pekerja-pekerja kontraktor yang ditugaskan membuat pembersihan ini tiba dengan pegawai kerajaan negeri dan sebagainya, barulah supervisor itu mendapat arahan untuk memberhentikan kerja. Dan sebenarnya dan saya lihat memang tidak ada lagi pekerja dan sebagainya.
Okay. You saw that the guy is wearing something totally different compared to the team who is fully equipped with PPE, right? With chemical protective clothing. Okay, he is a reporter. He's there just to report on the news. Okay, should he be protected as well? Shouldn't he? Okay, he's wearing the respirator. Okay, but he's holding it, and then but his skin is all exposed. Okay, what makes him think? He said that he was concerned about the others' exposure, but it seems like he's not concerned about his own exposure. Yeah, he said that there were also some other workers nearby. Okay, doing their work just like normal days, not bothering about the chemical dumping. Okay, that it is being polluted. That they can also be exposed to it. Yeah. All right. In terms of the public and residents, okay, this is what happened. Okay, what's going on in the area is that okay, the chemical is dumped into the river, so it passes by the school. Okay, where some school children they fainted, they were nauseous, they were dizzy with headache, so they were hospitalized. Okay, this is what happened, and observe the people around the area. Yeah.
Bang, ambulans nak lalu bang. Minta maaf bang. Kan kes saya juga. Tahu cerita lah. Tapi budak pun menggigil lah. Itu
Okay, you might have noticed that some of the ladies were covering their nose, okay, while the others were just pretending like nothing is happening. Okay, they were just busy going back and forth, attending to, being in that situation. Not sure whether they are concerned of their own exposure. For all they know, they are concerned about the school children's exposure. They were brought to the hospital. Okay, but they themselves, yeah. This is another scenario. This is not a video, that is a static photo, okay, indicating that people were undergoing daily life just like, any other days. Buying kue, yeah, wearing mask, okay, but it's not properly worn. As you can see there, the strap is not worn properly for both ladies. No, all three ladies. Yeah. It means that they were concerned about their inhalation, but they are not maybe not aware of the potential of exposure through maybe the skin, through the eyes, and others. Yeah. Okay. So we are not protecting workers as a concept. Yeah, we're protecting the workers on site, the nearby community, okay, the public that may not even know they are at risk. Yeah, so that's the main gist that we are trying to achieve here for hygienists. Sometimes people don't even realize they are exposed. Okay, so emergency responders are often called heroes, and rightly so. Yeah, but behind the scenes, there are people making sure those heroes stay safe. Yeah, just imagine those people come to clean up the site, okay, come to take samples, they come there to, cover the news, okay. However, they may be exposed to the chemicals somehow, yeah, the chemical vapor. um we don't just have one problem now. If the responders get exposed, we might have more victims, yeah, than ever. So if we say that 100 students were hospitalized, if we do not take care of the responders, chances are there will be more victims, because the responders may also faint, yeah. So after the incident, clean up sounds simple, yeah, actually, but it's not just clean and go. It must be timely, controlled, and safe. Yeah. So the challenge is to make sure that everything is fast, okay, but in a controlled situation, that it does not expose more people to the chemical vapor. So if you rush cleanup without proper control, you might spread the hazard even more. Yeah, it's just like when we want to do things, maunya cepat-cepat aja kan, jadi bisa expose kepada orang lain juga kan. Okay, so uh, what else? The real challenge is now the part where people underestimate. Okay, it's about coordination, forecasting, and logistics. Okay, we'll talk about it. So, who is needed during an emergency? Actually, who do you think is needed during an emergency? Of course, the cleanup team, okay, the one who responds to it, the medical team. Okay, we may need doctors, may need nurses, we may need the firefighters, because they are the ones who know whether it is safe to go in. Similarly, when it comes to the police force, okay. All right. So as you can see here, when it comes to hygiene, yeah, mm, it is not just measuring stuff, yeah. We do more than that, okay. We predict problems before they happen, because we anticipate. We interpret confusing data, okay. We don't know whether uh, it is okay to go in if the level is this much, okay, because everybody uses their sense of smell, okay. And then we make decisions whether the information is incomplete. Basically, we are expected to be scientists, detective, and sometimes magician. Yeah, that's what hygienists do. What makes a hygienist different is not just the knowledge, it's how we think, okay. We don't just react, we create systems, we build guidelines, we standardize chaos. So if the workers or maybe the public, yeah, is facing confusion, that's when we'll try to solve the problem and provide more information. So when multiple agencies come together, okay, just like what we said just now, all those parties who are supposed to be at the emergency site, everyone has different styles, yeah. Police would control those who can go in, okay, trying to prevent more people to be affected, okay. Medical team would be there to treat those sick people, okay, those who are affected, but hygienist helps bring them in order. So we develop checklists, okay, so that nothing is missed. Mm, we can also develop guidelines so decisions are faster, okay. Standards so that safety is consistent, safety and health, yeah. And because in emergencies confusion is dangerous, we want to be sure of what we are doing, okay. We do not want simply to um, just do it just for the sake of just we will just do it just to be there, okay. Yeah, so as you can see there, there's a lot of things that we need to do as hygienists, okay. When you want to talk about PPE, for instance, yeah, PPE, you just imagine suddenly when you need hundreds of gloves, respirators, okay, protective suits during chemical emergencies like this. Um, Under normal circumstances, if your boss says, okay, we'll need to buy gloves, respirators, and chemical suits, if it is next week, it may be okay. Yeah. But if it says now, that's the problem. It's not next week, it's not tomorrow, but it's now. Okay. And if it is not ready, people will go unprotected, right? So how many of you have all these PPEs available with you right now? Okay. One of the audience just now mentioned that she's going to wear a mask, okay, before she starts investigating what's happening. with the chemical smell kan at the beginning of the session tadi. Alright, so PPE selection may sound simple, okay, until you realize that PPE may be too hot, too thick, too uncomfortable, and then people start to realize that I don't want to wear this because it's too cumbersome. Leceh ya, repot ya. So might as well not wear PPE at all. So that's what you saw in the pictures in the video just now, okay, where you can see some people are fully equipped, but some just come, like normal days, not concerned of their own exposure. All right. Now, during the session, during the incident, this was what happened. Some of the officers, okay, where he was supposed to be in charge of collecting the samples, okay, to investigate on the issue, he fainted by inhaling the toxic fumes. It was collected in a bottle, so maybe he underestimated the situation. So he opened it and it leaked, and then he inhaled it. So he was hospitalized as well. And there was another situation, as you can see here, that is my friend actually. Uh, he is the staff of the Department of Environment, also there to collect samples. Okay, but that was on a Friday at noon. Um, around time solat Jumaat, yeah, and he fainted not because of the toxic fumes, yeah. In this case, he fainted because it was too hot, and he had to wear all those chemical protective clothing, mask, gloves, goggles, and so on. Yeah, so it's very important for us to consider what is possible to happen. Yeah, because they are the key persons who are supposed to solve the problem, to attend to the case. So if they are not taken care of, that's the issue. Okay. In normal situation, actually, those workers are provided with mask, yeah, but they are provided with N95 mask, okay, the round ones. Okay, whereas for chemical vapors, it is best that if you wear a respirator, yeah. And I believe if I ask you right now, okay, what kind of respirator or mask do you have with you? Okay, chances are you might have one, but you have the surgical mask, the rectangle one. Okay, but that is not sufficient to protect you from chemical fumes. Okay, let alone to say that if you smell something, uh, isi bensin, yeah, at the pump station, and then you just put your hand like this, okay, pinching your nose, or maybe covering your nose with your hijab, or a piece of cloth. Yeah, that is not sufficient because chemical vapors can permeate and can penetrate through the clothing. Yeah, it requires more than that. That is why we need respirators. Okay, here's another picture, okay, depicting what happened during the session. And as you can see that some of the responders wore long sleeves. Those are the uniforms, okay. Some wore short sleeves, okay. So in terms of exposure, it's very hard to say whether they are concerned or not. Yeah, that is the normal uniform, assuming that on normal days there won't be cases like this. But we have to be prepared. That's why it is called emergency response. Yeah, so if there are cases, do not underestimate, and they have to be prepared that maybe they require a chemical protective clothing. Okay, maybe they require more than an N95 mask like that. Yeah. Okay. Here is another news. Okay, on the TV about 15 barrels of chemical found on site. Okay, and usually, typically in Malaysia, the police force will have to be the one going in first because they would inspect whether everything is okay or not. Yeah, it's not the chemical department, it's not the Department of Environment, okay, but it is the police force. Okay, watch this.
Pihaknya kini masih belum menerima laporan lengkap berhubung punca sebenar kejadian itu. 8 anggota polis terbabit membuat pemeriksaan ke atas 15 tong yang berisi bahan kimia selepas dimaklumkan orang awam sebelum dilaporkan kepada Jabatan Alam Sekitar dan Unit Bahan Berbahaya Hazmat dari Jabatan Bomba dan Penyelamat Malaysia Pahang.
Okay. So this happened in Pahang, in Bentong actually, where they have realized that something is going on. Okay, they found 15 barrels of chemical trying to be illegally dumped. Okay, on site, and as I mentioned, the policeman is the one who was on site first. Yeah, that is when they go in unprepared. Okay, so when they went in unprepared, that is when they were the ones inhaling the chemicals, and they were nauseous, vomited, okay, and realized that their health has been compromised. Okay, so the issue with this is, um, I would say is oversighting or maybe underestimating what is in there, because in normal situations people might think it is just chemicals. Okay, um, they will just come there, but if the chemicals leak, okay, in the drums, okay, it means that the people around it can inhale it. Okay, so even trained policemen experience nausea and vomiting. So keep in mind, these are trained responders. Okay, they are supposed to know, but just imagine if there's no proper hazard assessment. Yeah, this is why we say protecting the protectors is the responders in this case, is not optional. Yeah, we hope that they would help, but if they are not well protected, that is when the problem arises. Okay, um so hygienist doesn't have just one role. Okay, we can be safety officers, technical specialists, air monitoring expert, trainers, risk assessors. So basically, hygienists wear many hats, sometimes all at once. Yeah. So looking at these roles, yeah, which one do you think is most stressful of all this? Which one do you think is most stressful? Chita, can you please read on some response, okay, from the audience, if any?
Oh, sure. Oke, student, menurut kalian mana yang paling stressful dari peran-peran ini? You can mention one that you think is the most
Yeah.
stressful.
In a chemical
Like,
disaster, okay, these people should be on site, yeah. But which one do you think is most stressful? Yang kayaknya paling paling apa ya? Uh, paling susah kali ya?
sorry, doctor, I think the connection is not so good. I can
Mhm.
hear your voice.
You can? Can you?
Okay, it's already clear.
Okay, all right.
Yes. No one write in the chat box. Hello, everyone.
All right. Okay. Anyway, okay. If you do not understand, what are their roles? Yeah, it's just like an air monitoring group. Okay, would be the ones that monitors the air. What is, if you smell something, there should be a team that monitors the chemicals in the air. Yeah, because we need to know what do we inhale. Okay, we also have respiratory protection program manager. Okay, maybe the ones who is in charge of um, telling us which one of the mask or respirators need to be used. Okay, a risk assessor is in terms of making sure that the risk is kept minimal to make sure that everything is already safe for people to enter the area again. Yeah. All right. So anyway, hold on, yeah. Right.
Oh,
So yeah, sorry.
there are some answer from our students. They
Yeah.
think that the safety coordinator is the stressful one because he is in charge on coordination. And also the other opinion, the most stressful is being a hazard analyst because we have to be really precision. What is it? So
Ah,
teliti. Yeah.
yeah, I would say those are good answers, yeah. Thinking that coordinating, okay, being a coordinator, it may sound simple, but actually it carries a big responsibility, yeah, to make sure that everything jive together, yeah, everything is okay. When hazard analyst says that it seems okay, but do you still need to wear a mask? Okay, that is when you have to coordinate with the respiratory protection team. Okay, what about in terms of the air? Is it still good? Is it you know does it still need further actions to be taken? Yeah, so coordinator can also be a tedious job. Yeah, a hazard analyst or risk assessor as well. Okay, good thinking. Yeah, I like the way you try to critically put yourself in the shoe of all those people. Yeah. So can we actually perform in an emergency? Yeah, because if you think knowledge alone is not enough, whatever knowledge that we have may not be enough. Yeah. Sometimes you need technical skills, you need safety knowledge, you need environmental health understanding, okay, and also ability to function under pressure. Yeah. So because it is a crucial time, you need to be fast. Yeah. There is no way that you can say, it's okay, we'll take our own sweet time. We need to make sure that everything is right. Of course, we have to make sure that it is right. But at the same time, we have to make sure that it is fast as well. Yeah, because at the same time, it is being released into the environment. Yeah. It is being released into the river, being released into the air. More people are inhaling. So you have to make decisions very fast. Yeah. So it's not just what you know, it's how you perform when things go wrong, lah, you can say. All right. So we assess in terms of IH technical skills, yeah. We assess exposure, we monitor air, we evaluate PPE, the suitability, yeah. Basically, we answer the questions: is this safe or not? Is this healthy or not? Yeah. Because other people are relying on us to make decisions. Okay. Um, PPE may differ. Okay, let me show you some other examples. Okay, choosing PPE is not just just wear any gloves. Okay, plastic gloves, PVC gloves, nitrile gloves. It's not as simple as that. We must consider heat. We must consider comfort, dexterity, okay, in terms of, you need to grip or not, the duration that you need to wear it, okay. So if it is too thick, you cannot work. Yeah, it's hard for you to hold items, to grip items. Yeah, if it is too thin, you may think that it is okay. Yeah, like disposable gloves, but you may get exposed because it's too thin. So balance is everything. You need to understand all these things very well. Yeah, which gloves to use in terms of emergency, because we do not know what chemicals are we dealing with. Okay, in terms of yeah, as you can see here, sometimes people double glove, okay, the inner and outer layer, which means that in case of failure, in case if it permeates, okay, you still have another layer. But it is very tricky because when it comes to removing it, doffing, okay, doffing the gloves, you have to be careful so that not to cross contaminate your skin surface. Okay. For respiratory protection, mask, okay, it is not so simple as that. Yeah, if you wear the wrong mask, okay, you might have a false sense of security, right? Which one do you wear under what circumstances? Okay, so most of the time people wear a very simple mask, okay, sometimes fabric mask, or maybe disposable surgical mask. It is called surgical mask for a reason, which means that it may not be suitable to be used by you know uh, by us, the public, when we are exposed to chemicals. Yeah. N95, like the one on the right hand side, is actually suitable for dust. Yeah. And the third one, the black one, is actually the foam type material. Okay. It is also not suitable. It may make you easy to breathe. Okay. But it does not provide the desired protection, not the protection that you are looking for during an emergency. Yeah. So it's very important for us to understand that well, sometimes it may also fail. Okay, you know that sometimes when people wear mask, you don't simply say, "Oh, just grab a mask." Okay, you need to wear a mask. Which mask? Okay, and sometimes I see people wearing masks like below the nose. Yeah, sometimes it is loose fitting, or worse, they reuse it many times. Yeah, uh, it maybe it is suitable to be reused. Yeah, but it it is not to be reused for a long time. Okay. The main thing that I realize when people wear masks instead of respirators is that they find it easier to breathe. Yeah. But the key point is that if the air can go in easily, so can contaminants. Okay. And now we are talking about chemical vapors. Okay. If you are exposed to dust, it's also about the same lah. Okay. So having PPE but not knowing how to use it, it's like having a fire extinguisher, but you use it for decoration. Yeah. In case of fire, oh, I have a fire extinguisher, but how do I use it? Don't know. Okay, just because you have it. So disaster preparedness is not just about the equipment. Yeah, you really need to know how to react in case of emergencies. Yeah, when we talk about gloves just now. Okay, um, you know, it may sound as simple as, buying any gloves or maybe whatever that is comfortable, but you have to know the art behind it. Okay, the best PPE in the world is useless if people don't wear it properly. If you choose the wrong one, okay, you don't simply choose pink gloves just because you like pink. Okay, you don't choose disposable gloves because it's easy to discard. Okay, some people might wear thick ones because they feel uh, it's very important to protect themselves really well. Okay, wearing thick gloves, but when it comes to uh, holding small parts like screws, maybe it's not easy to grip. Yeah. All right. So that is one of the challenges lah, yeah, when it comes to PPE. So if something happens at your workplace tomorrow, okay, in your university, which one worries you more? Whether lack of PPE or lack of training or lack of coordination? Okay, I have three options here. Which one would you worry about? Lack of PPE, no PPE, lack of training, or lack of coordination? Okay, type in your answer.
Okay, please, student, you can type the answer. Mana yang paling mengkhawatirkan kalian ketika di institusi kita? Apakah ketika tidak ada PPE, there is no training, tidak ada pelatihan, atau there is no coordination? Menurut teman-teman, mana nih yang paling bikin worry, yang harus mendapat perhatian lebih? Silahkan, boleh diketik di chat box. Biar cepat in Indonesia, in bahasa, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. In bahasa juga bisa.
Yes. No, we will not move on until you write the answer on the chat box.
Yeah, keep on responding because it's very
Yeah,
important to make sure that you understand the session.
yeah.
So you worry if there's no PPE, no training, or no coordination?
Okay. Haikal said, I think no coordination make him worry the most.
No coordination.
Okay. Ghazali. Actually, I think every factor, but the worst one is there is no training because some of accident in Indonesia happen because no proper training.
Okay, kurang pelatihan ya.
Pelatihan.
Mhm. Okay. Ada yang khawatir kalau nggak ada PPE?
Any other answers?
Hmm?
Hello, hello.
Kalau Cita sendiri mana?
Coordination. I think coordination is
Coordination.
the first factor, apa ya, yang menentukan keberhasilan dari suatu upaya gitu ya. Upaya pengendalian adalah koordinasi yang baik. A good coordination will make will make the apa ya, upaya kita menjadi berhasil lah. Intinya seperti itu, dokter. I don't know.
Ya, yang lain-lain jangan malu-malu ya. There's no right or wrong answer. We just want surveys here. We just want to know your perception. Yeah,
Yes.
all answers are good. Okay, all of them are valid actually. Okay, just want to try to see how do you perceive things. Yeah, you worry if there's no PPE, but if you have the knowledge, maybe you will know. Okay, if you have PPE, you know how to wear them. You know how to do things next. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Okay, we talked about this a while ago. Okay.
Hasna. Okay, sorry, doctor. Hasna said
Yeah.
that. How about lack of PPE due to budget efficiency?
Wah, itu common banget ya kalau
Iya, betul.
yeah. All right. Mm, good question. Yeah, it's a very good question. Um, well, we know that actually it is the top management's decision. Yeah, it's the duty of employer in Malaysia. In the act, ya, dalam aktanya dibilang it is the duty of employer to provide the PPE. Yeah, but it is the duty of employee to wear the PPE and comply with all the safety and health regulations. Okay. So by right, there shouldn't be any excuse, yeah, by the employer saying that we don't have enough budget for this. Okay. Um, I know that they assume that there wouldn't be any big problems. There wouldn't be chemical disasters. Yeah, that's why they provide very minimal. To the most, they would provide, the surgical mask, which is not suitable for a chemical lab. Yeah, I have seen it in some other universities as well. Yeah, trust me. Okay. However, if nothing happens, then it may be okay. The problem is that if something happens, and if something happens in this case, it doesn't wait until we are ready. Yeah, if let's say ada satu student yang inhale the chemicals and then pingsan ya, itu kan nggak menunggu sampai ready ada PPE apa enggak ya. Berarti if it happens, then the university would be in big problem. Okay, in big trouble because why didn't you provide the control measures, the right control measures for the students, for the workers, right? So that is why we learn about emergency response. Yeah, if it doesn't happen, okay, na'udzubillah, we are hoping that it would never happen. But if it happens, then at least we would know what to do. Okay, so, I am not in the position to make this decision, but it is for the organization to discuss and make decisions lah. So, it is a shame that in our universities, in our organizations, we have safety and health department, we have Katiga, yeah, degree in Katiga, we have lecturers in Katiga, okay. But if implementation does not align with what you guys learn, what the academics teach, yeah, so that is a shame, a big shame, yeah. Not only in your university, but other universities as well. Okay, I'm reflecting. Okay, anyway, IH involves should meet minimum competency requirements in many areas, in all these 5 areas. Okay, we look at it one by one. In terms of IH specialty, okay, safety specialty, environmental health, emergency response, and also individual professional skill. We talked a little bit about IH specialty a while ago when we talk about the gloves chosen, the mask or respirators that needs to be worn, okay, and etc. So um, as I say, it's not just about telling people, let me measure it first. Okay, you also have to advise. You also have to interpret the data. Okay, if you measure, you use an equipment. Okay, you press the button and it gives you readings. What does it mean? To other people, it may be okay. This is 80, for instance, or whatever 80. Um, is this okay, 80? 80, if it is closer to 100, then it is okay. But what if the limit is 80 or 85? It means that 80 is not safe. Yeah. So you'll have to help people interpret the results. Okay. Uh, not only that, we develop checklists, okay, so that nothing is missed. We talked about that. Okay. We also look at the guidelines so that it can guide people how to do things. Yeah. Um, the government says that we have to provide a safe and healthy work environment, yeah, for the workers. But how do we do it? Okay, that is when guidelines are very important so that people can follow. Okay, so we develop standards so safety is consistent. Yeah, so that's why we need to decide what PPE needs to be used, okay, how much is needed, do we need to wear double layers, okay, and where it actually works, okay, because sometimes too little PPE may be too dangerous, too much PPE is also a problem, okay, and that is also why sometimes we are also involved in trainings. We train people what to do next, yeah. Sometimes while the incident is still ongoing, yeah, during the Kim incident, uh, like in the clip video just now, actually it is almost unprepared. Yeah, people were wondering what to do next. Do we have a standard for that? Yeah, but remember, people's lives depend are depending on you. Okay, so you cannot simply say, I don't know. Okay, if you have studied Katiga, okay, Osh, you have studied industrial hygiene. This is a time for you to contribute, to tell people that you can chip in, you can provide the knowledge required to solve the problem. Okay. All right. The second skill is safety specialty skill. Okay. This is when it is very important for you to, what do you call that, to deal with confined space. Okay. Trenching. Okay. If it is a deep hole, the traffic, construction hazards, okay, because sometimes it could happen in construction hazards, because emergency sites are not just chemical hazards, sometimes it is everything hazard. It may be about economy, it may be about radiation, about vibration, about noise, etc, etc. Okay, so these people should also have safety specialty skills. Yeah, do you have all these skills? Now we have just gone through IH and safety. Can you tick big box in those two? Not box, dekat circle ni, ya. Okay. Can you say that you have all these skills? IH and safety? Okay. If you do, that is good. But moving on, we look at another skill that you are required to have. Okay. Environmental health. Okay. Sometimes people forget this part. Okay. Water, food, sanitation. Okay. This can become secondary disasters. Can you imagine in the case of uh, we might not have typhoon in our countries, yeah, we might not have uh yeah, we might have earthquake, okay, volcanic eruption, flood, these are common ones, yeah, in our countries. You may survive chemical, but you may fall sick from contaminated water, okay, because during an emergencies people may be gathered in a, kalau di Malaysia it's called pusat pemindahan mangsa banjir, for instance, yeah. So dikumpulkan all these victims in an area where they are provided with tents so that they can stay there for several days until everything is okay. Yeah. So we don't want those people to be served with food which is contaminated. Okay, we have proper waste management facilities for that. Yeah, and many others. So that is in terms of environmental health. We need to know that as well. Okay, the fourth one is on emergency response and planning. Yeah. Uh, in this case, actually, it's clear, okay, because we need to know incident management, okay, what to do in case of emergencies, how do you manage things, okay, how do you have an action plan, right? Um, if there has never been any emergencies or disasters like that before, start sitting down and start brainstorming what to do next. Yeah, because in normal situation, people might think it's pointless to think about something that may not happen. Yeah, in Malaysia, um, in my city, in where I live, um, there are some places that may be affected by flood. Yeah, uh, where I live in section 9, section 7, somewhere nearby section 7, and so it is unlikely to experience flood, yeah, banjir. Uh, However, several years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, was it 2 years ago? Suddenly, a heavy rain. It was pouring like the whole day, uh, but some areas experienced flood, and we were not prepared for it because we thought we live in the city, okay, thinking that nah, it's not going to happen to our place. It happens in some other places nearby, some other sections, okay, uh, but unlikely to happen to us. But that year it happened. So everybody was so, you know, um, chaotic and not knowing what to do. Okay. So now we have to start talking about bug out bag. Okay, where you have a backpack filled up with power banks, filled up with, all emergency items, flashlight, medicine, and so on. Okay. All right. Um, And the fifth skill that you must have is the individual professional skill. This is, the basic skill that everybody must have actually. Yeah, in terms of physically and mentally strong. Yeah, because you need to save others. So if you are not strong, then it may be a big deal. Yeah. um, you must be physically ready. Okay, we don't want you to get sick. If you need to save others, you need to help people, to lift other people, to help them. Okay, but you are the one who is, not fit enough, nggak bisa berlari, ya, not fisiknya nggak bagus, ya. You have to be organized. Okay, you have to have some computer skills. All right. Make sure that you have everything. You know what to bring in cases of emergencies. Yeah, you don't bring everything. Everything is important, but the right thing is to pick the really important ones. Yeah, you need a bottle of water. You need flashlights. You need power banks. For your phones. What else? Some snacks. Yeah, maybe not nasi. Yeah, but at least some snacks just to give you energy. Okay, maybe chocolates. Okay, you have to be a good communicator. Okay, you have to be resourceful when they ask for information. You are the ones providing them the latest information. Okay, what to do next. Okay, however, if you are not good at communicating, then there will be a problem. Okay, in emergencies, people don't need perfect theory. They don't bother about theories anymore. All they want to know that they are safe. Yeah, so it's very important um, for you, okay, to have all these qualities. Yeah, all these five qualities, which is IH, safety skill, environmental health, ERP, and also individual. Okay, professional skills. Got it? Okay. Semuanya okay? Masih following? All right. Now, on IH functions, we have some IH functions that is very important for you to know. Okay, just imagine industrial hygiene. What do we do during incidents and emergencies? Yeah, think of IH emergency as a journey. before we plan, during we assess, we monitor, we control, okay, and after that we investigate what happened, we try to improve what we can. Yeah, so if we keep one stage, the whole system weakens. So let's walk through what we really do during a disaster. Yeah, before the things go wrong. Okay, so we have all these functions. First, we pre-plan. Okay, we don't wait for disasters, we pre-plan. Yeah, we plan if it happens, because the worst time to think is when everyone is already panicking. Yeah, in case of fire, ya, jika ada kebakaran di university, okay, what would you do? They say don't panic, right? They say, walk towards the assembly area, but I bet everybody would panic. Yeah, what more if you talk about something that has never been planned? So if your plan starts with let's discuss during emergency, then you're already late. Yeah. So it's about time to sit down, discuss before anything happens. All right. Function number two is in terms of exposure assessment. Okay. We ask, what are people actually exposed to? Are they exposed to chemicals? What type of chemicals? Okay. Can it cause cancer? Are people exposed to radiation? Okay. No, not that we think, not that we hope, but what's really there. Yeah. Because guessing exposure is like guessing exam answers. You do not know. Sometimes you may be lucky, but mostly you are wrong, right? Uh, Maybe ada yang pernah spot exam questions ya. So you don't want to keep wondering, okay? Because during emergencies, if you wonder, if you still not sure, then you'll be in big trouble. Okay. On function number three is on monitoring exposure. Okay, we track exposure in real time. Okay, not just one reading and that's it. Okay, during an emergency, the level of chemicals may fluctuate. It may be high at times, it may be low. Okay, it may be pushed away by wind drift. Okay, so before this, if it is low, now it may be high. It may be diluted by wind. Okay, hazards are not static. Okay, they move, they spread. Okay, sometimes they surprise you. Okay, we may never think that in Malaysia we used not to have earthquake, but now we have started to, experience several earthquake episodes. Yeah, so Malaysia is never prepared for earthquake because we are out of the lingkaran gunung berapi, jadi nggak ada volcano. Masa bisa ada earthquake kan? Tapi tetap aja ada kan, ada gempa. Okay, so not just one reading. Okay, we monitor from time to time to know whether the story changes, whether the reading from high goes to low or low goes to high. Yeah, so that we can provide information to those who need to know. Okay, function number four is to interpret data. Okay, we don't just collect numbers. Okay, we make sense of them. When people see numbers, they do not know what it means. Yeah, if we talk about 0.25, is that safe? What is 0.25? If it is not well interpreted, people wouldn't know. 0.25 out of what? Out of 10? 0.25 out of zero point 0.5? So it has different connotations, yeah? So data without interpretation is just decoration. So it's very important for us to understand what it means. Okay, if you use a monitor to monitor the chemicals, all right, it can beep all day. It can be beep, 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 beep. Okay, but to all people, it's just noise. You need to tell people what does it mean when it beeps, right? It's just like when you listen to what do you call that? Emergency alarm. Yeah, sometimes it sounds like kring, bunyinya kayak bell gitu ya. Okay, it's a long sound. Sometimes it sounds whoop 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 like that. Yeah. So we need to understand what it means. Yeah, is it just a test, or is it real? What do we need to do? Or do we need to just prepare ourselves what to do next? Okay. So the next one is controlling. Yeah. When it comes to this function, it is about eliminating. Okay. The best control is to remove the hazard completely, if you can. Okay. You know the hierarchy of controls? It begins with elimination. Okay. And then only you substitute, you isolate, blah blah blah. And lastly is the PPE. Okay. So if there is no hazard, there may be no exposure. So no problem. No hazard, no exposure, no problem. However, this is just a dream. Okay, it is not always possible. We may imagine that we take care of um, all those physical hazards, uh, from noise at work. We protect ourselves from vibration, from heat, okay, from economic hazard. Okay, little that we know that in 2020 there will be COVID. Yeah, but which country was prepared for COVID? We were not prepared, right? So all we know was, we had to be isolated for some time, okay, under movement control order. Then only, the agencies, the government departments start to think about how to move things forward. Yeah, how do we work from home? Okay, function number 6 is engineering control. So if we cannot remove it, we control it. We may use ventilation, we may use isolation, we may use barriers. Okay, basically controlling the hazard without relying on human, okay, to behave perfectly. Because when you put a barrier, it would stay still there. Okay, if you have a ventilation system, chances are it would behave just nice. It would function as expected. Okay, because humans, we all know, we are not always consistent. We talk about some other controls that require human compliance. Sometimes we feel too lazy, or we don't want to do that. Yeah, we are sick of doing this. All right. And then function number 7, yeah, it's about work practices and admin control. Okay. uh, this is when we control people work, yeah, the procedures, the job rotation. Okay. And last but not least is the last line of self-defense in terms of PPE. Everybody knows PPE is the last resort. Yeah, that's the famous one lah. People always talk about control aja terus cadangnya PPE. Yeah, sebenarnya it is the last one. It is not the only one. It's not the first one. So if PPE is your main control, something is already wrong. If you feel like in case of emergencies, it's okay, gak apa-apa, we have lab coats, we have gloves, we have mask. Yeah, as simple as that. It shows you fail to identify any other possibilities, because there is a higher hierarchy. Okay, the next one is decontamination. Okay, after exposure, we clean people properly. Yeah, because sometimes when we wear gloves, we protect ourselves, but when removing, that is when you touch the outer surface that is contaminated. Okay, when you wear respirators, you may protect your breathing. Okay, but you may take it off while you are still on site. Okay, so that's a problem. So just imagine thinking that you are safe, but your clothes say otherwise. Yeah, we want to make sure that we are really protected. It's just like in the picture here. Yeah, if you can see, um, pakainya chemical protective clothing kayak gitu kan. So it needs to be decontaminated before they take off the suit. Yeah, it's very important. Otherwise, whatever effort that you put throughout the several hours wearing it is useless. It's meaningless. All right, and the next one is function number 10. That is remediation. Okay, that is when we clean up the site. So we don't want to do it just fast. We want to do it safely as well. Yeah, of course we need to do it as soon as possible. It's just like the Sungai Kim incident, where the chemicals move along the river. How do we stop the river? It's very hard to stop the river. It's not possible. So we have to react very fast. If you need several hours to think, to strategize, that is when it may reach the ocean. So that's not efficient anymore. Okay, rushing cleanups can create a second disaster. So you don't want that to happen. You want to uh, clean up and make sure that you get rid of everything. Okay, with regards to Sungai Kim, what happened was they need to uh, clean up the river itself, okay, and also the river banks, tanah-tanah yang di tepi sungai kan, because it is also contaminated, so it has to be uh, you know excavated to be removed. So that's the some of the issues when it comes to remediation. All right. Moving on, we have some other functions in terms of specialized system. Yeah. If you talk about respiratory protection program, okay, it is not just about wearing mask. It's all a full system. You need to know how to select, okay, which one to wear. You need to learn how the fit test, how to make sure that it fits. Okay. And of course, it's normal when people say, it's hard to breathe when I wear these respirators. Hard to breathe means it's good. It is good fitting. Okay. You have to provide training, just like what your friend said just now. Okay. When you train people, they would know what to do. Okay. And then maintenance. Okay. When do they change the cartridge of the respirator? When do they need to change the glove? Okay. You don't only change the glove when you see it has a hole in it. Yeah. Sometimes if it is disposable, you have to change it after every use. Sometimes after every hour. Okay. So just imagine if someone wears the wrong type of mask, it gives you false confidence. Yeah, and that's dangerous because when you wear the wrong mask, you might think that at least aku masih pakai respirator. Yeah, jadi it's okay to go in there. Aku masih pakai mask. Whereas actually it is not right. Yeah, if you have the false sense of safety, you think you are safe, but actually you are not. Okay. All right. The next one is on site safety plan and command role. Okay. As I said at the beginning, we don't work alone. So IH functions is to fit into a command system. Everything must be coordinated. Yeah. Otherwise, somebody might say A, somebody might say B, somebody else might say X, Y, Z. Yeah. So it's hard to work together in that case. When there are too many leaders, okay, everybody would think that everybody should listen to me. I am a leader. Okay. Remember, in case of emergencies, there will be many other agencies working together. Yeah. So when there is no coordination, that is when there will be chaos. Okay. Um, and number 13 is the compliance. Okay. We make sure rules are followed, even during emergencies. Okay. Because emergency is not an excuse to ignore safety. All right. If we talk about emergencies in a flight, yeah, bila naik pesawat, kalau ada emergency, what are you supposed to do? What are you advised to do? Kan ada briefing ya, safety briefing at the beginning of a flight. What were you asked to do in case of emergencies? By right, you are supposed to make sure that you take away all your personal belongings, not all your personal belongings, you leave your personal belongings, but you must take off your shoes, especially if you have heels, high heels. Yeah. Why? Because you need to slide down, okay, the emergency slide, okay, out of the flight, and you don't want to tear it apart. Okay. Sometimes when you wear heels, it has sharp edges kan, di hujungnya itu tajam. Okay. And you don't want to ruin it for every other passengers. Okay, all right. So, all right, this one is about human side of IH, yeah? The IH function that is on training. Okay, we train people on site, okay, sometimes in the middle of the chaos when they are not prepared lah, eh? So we still need to train them, okay, because untrained responders means new victims. Yeah, people would say, oh, it's okay, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to save everything. Okay, but if there is exposure, it means that that person can die, that person can be exposed. All right. Function number 15, the second last one is risk communication. Okay, that is when we translate complex science into simple decisions. Okay, uh, whatever data that we have, whatever theory that we have, to other people, to layman, it's just about understanding whether it is okay or not. Okay, they won't act correctly if they don't understand. So it's very important to make sure that they understand well. In case of emergency, if people say chemical emergency, yeah, uh, you have to understand that it may get into the house through cracks, through window openings. Yeah. So people will not stay in the house. People will not open the windows. Yeah. But if they understand, the real meaning is that it is not even safe to be in the house. Yeah, because it can permeate through the cracks of the windows. Yeah. Even if it is not open, under the door. Okay, so that is also a potential. All right, the last but not least is investigation. Okay, after everything, we investigate what went wrong. Yeah, after a flood event, okay, then only we realize, oh, we should have been prepared. Okay, after an earthquake, we should realize that now it's very important for us to have a backup plan, an emergency response plan if it happens again. Okay, what can we improve? Okay, if before this we do not know that our house can shake a bit during an emergency, during an earthquake, so now what do we do? Okay, because for every incident that happens, it is very expensive, so we must learn from it. Yeah, when everything is rosak, okay, it needs to be repaired. Okay, you need to buy new ones. It needs to be reconstructed. If it is a house, okay, a building, so it costs a lot more. Okay, it may also affect somebody's life. Yeah, mungkin ada yang mati. Itu juga, it is a cost, expensive cost, the most expensive cost. Okay, so of all these functions, which one is the hardest? Which one is the hardest one to do? I would say it is not the last bit, but it is the first bit because you need to pre-plan. But it is worth doing. Yeah. Uh, because whatever it is, you need to pre-plan and you have to communicate. Okay. This one, the communicate, the second last one. Yeah. Science is easy, yes. Okay. But when you talk about people, it's very hard. Okay. During COVID, we have seen how many people are still stubborn. Yeah. Udah dibilang oleh pemerintah harus pakai PPE, tapi masih ada yang nggak pakai, bukan? Berarti komunikasinya itu nggak sampai ke rakyat kan? Karena ada yang ngerasa ya udahlah ngapain pakai-pakai, tapi sampai sampai sakit, sampai ketularan, okay, infected dengan COVID sampai mati, makanya baru tahu kan? Then only they know that, oh, actually it does matter to wear a mask, to wash the hands. Okay. All right. So you see, IH is not just sampling air. It's not only about making sure workplace is free from economic hazards. Okay, we are involved in emergencies. Yeah, we are involved before, during, and after the incident. Okay, so we don't just measure risk, but we also manage it. Okay, at the end of the day, disasters don't give warnings. Okay, it's about you know um, preparing for it. Okay, because unpreparedness always leave clues. Yeah, it shows that something is not right. We are lacking something somewhere. We need to do things. Okay, and industrial hygiene is not about compliance. It's not about we just try to please the pemerintah. Okay, it's about preventing regrets. Okay, because when it happens, it can affect our safety, our health. All right. So now I want to ask you one question. When the next incident happens, if there is a fire, if there is a flood event, if there is a volcanic eruption, will you be part of the solution? Will you be able to help? Or will you be part of the problem? Okay. Right. So that's for you to think about. Okay. And I leave you with that. Okay. To ponder. Okay. And let's go for an Q&A session if you have any.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ismaniza, for the insightful and excellent presentation. I think we have about 15 minutes left for the question and answer session. For participants, for our students who would like to ask the questions, please, you can raise your hand virtually or just type the question in the chat box. Anyone? Hello. No questions at all from 150 people here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One question's from Nabila. My question is, in an emergency situation with a high level of uncertainty, how does an industrial hygienist validate risk control decisions that must be taken quickly while exposure data is still incomplete? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Um, all right, thank you very much for the question. Um, actually, we don't wait for perfect data because perfect data doesn't exist in emergencies. Okay? Instead, industrial hygienists make defensible decisions under uncertainty. So when we are not sure, that is when we have to come up with a solution with a decision, but the decision should be justified by some other factors. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with what we do know. What we know. Okay. We gather any available information. We know the chemical identity, if it is known. If it is a chemical emergency that there is a mixture, then it might be a bit tricky. Okay. We observe the symptoms. Okay. What are the process involved? And we have to know the route of exposure. So if you are talking about a chemical tanker, okay, carrying a lorry, okay, a truck that carries chemicals and it collided on the highway, um, pouring some chemicals on the road, okay, exposing the road users to chemicals. Okay, maybe we can tell what chemicals are people exposed to. Okay, maybe we can refer to the SDS, yeah, to understand the toxicological information about the chemicals. Okay, but partial information is also better than guessing blindly, I suppose. At least we know the name of chemicals that tells us something. Okay, we can use precautionary principle. Okay, if we are not sure, then maybe we can assume the worst reasonable case. um, we don't say it might be safe, okay, but we say, what if it is not? Yeah. So we always think of the worst case scenario. Okay, we are trained to be a bit paranoid, but in a good way, because we have to understand, um, if we underestimate things, it may get worse, right? And next, we'll apply the hierarchy of controls. Okay, we don't jump straight to PPE as I said a while ago. Okay, we'll try to see whether we can isolate, whether we can restrict access, okay, not allowing people to go in. Can we ventilate the area? Okay, but the main thing is that we don't go for PPE straight away. Yeah, it is just a backup plan. Okay, and maybe we can also tell whether the exposure is how much. Okay, to know. We can use direct reading instruments. Okay, we can use real-time monitoring. Okay, that tells us the trend, whether it increases or decreases. Okay, and it is not perfect, but at least we are looking at the numbers. Yeah, we know how is it like. We may know that it is dangerous or not. If it is dangerous, is it increasing? Okay, if it is diluted with the air, then maybe the advice would be different. Okay, then maybe we can also benchmark against known standards. Okay, if we know the chemical name, then it is easy for us to refer to exposure limits. Okay, however, keep in mind that exposure limits are actually for workers. If it happens in the public, it is a different case. Yeah, because the exposure limit is for 8-hour exposure. Yeah, um, and we have to keep in mind that most chemicals come with formulation, which means that they are mixtures of chemicals. They are not individual chemicals. Yeah, standard limits are for individuals. All right, then maybe if the chemicals have some similar chemicals, similar scenarios. Yeah, maybe you can refer to the what has happened before. Okay, have we seen something like this before? Or okay, in our previous experience, when things like this happen, this was what we did. Okay, so that can also be a guidance. um, Hygienists also consult and communicate. Okay, we don't work alone, it's very hard. We need toxicologists, we need incident command officer, we need safety teams, okay, to verify the decisions. Okay, is this okay to do like this? Okay, and then it will be advised by those key persons. Yeah. So decisions are not final, they evolve. Okay. So that's when we update from time to time. Okay. As more data comes in, we adjust controls. Yeah. If you realize, if we talk about emergencies like during COVID, yeah, um, that is in the beginning, the government in Malaysia, we were told that um, we are not supposed to what do you call that, uh, some other some places would prepare chemicals for us to soak in our shoes before entering the area. Yeah, and we know that some people say that oh, this can be infected, when it is in an open area. Okay, but after some time they realize that, oh, this is not possible, so they make a new statement. Okay, that is when people started to realize, oh, why do the governments make a U-turn? Why do they make another statement which is contradicting with the previous one? It is because now we have more information. Yeah. So when we have more information, you follow the latest one, right? So would you rather act early with limited data, or you wait later until you have the full data, but the risk of exposure is higher, right? So that is when hygienists will have to be very smart in terms of making decisions. Okay, so I hope that answers the question, Nabila.
Nabila, is there any follow-up? Oh, that addressed my questions very well. Thank you, Dr. Ismanisa. Okay, there are two questions. I think it's kind of same question from Varian and Ghazali. So I will summarize the question. I want to ask about how to educate people about the chemical hazard, especially stubborn people that just use respirator and they felt that it is enough to prevent the chemical hazard. And also from Varian, he also asked about how do we communicate well to the people so they can be more aware and easily understand about the dangers of pollution.
Okay, all right. How to educate people ya kalau yang stubborn. Okay. Um, the famous belief, yeah, that people say, I wear respirator already, I'm safe. Yeah. This is actually one of the most dangerous mindset in chemical safety. People think that they wear it, they are okay. Okay. If someone is stubborn, arguing rarely works. Don't fight, but you have to reframe. Instead of saying, okay, you're wrong, ask them questions. What chemical are you protecting against? Okay, ini pakai respirator kayak gini, exposure-nya to what chemicals? Kan? Is your respirator suitable for that? Right? Maybe if they wear just the normal surgical mask, what about skin exposure? Yeah. So maybe when you ask questions like that, it would make them realize. Okay. You can also ask them, about the respirator myth in terms of respirator only protects inhalation, but chemicals don't follow rules, right? It may be absorbed into the skin, it may splash into the eyes, it can get onto clothing. Okay, so that is for us to understand that. So when we uh, talk to people like this, we have to be smarter than them. Okay, you can use analogy. Say if using only a respirator is like wearing a raincoat during a storm. Okay, when it's raining, but leaving your pants and shoes at home. Okay, so it's like, well, it's like protected but still getting wet. Yeah, so people don't change because of rules. They change because of consequences. You can tell them consequences. Okay, these are the consequences from exposure to all these chemicals. It can cause dermatitis. It can cause systemic poisoning. Yeah, some chemicals don't even smell, but they still harm you. So some people say that, oh, these chemicals are harmless because you cannot smell it. Okay, the fact is that not all chemicals have smell, and if they understand that, they may not be as stubborn anymore. Okay, um, what else? Maybe in terms of making it practical. So instead of wearing full PPE, okay, wear full PPE. Maybe you say gloves is because of dermal risk. Goggles are for splash into the eyes. Okay, respirators is for inhalation. Okay, so when you break it down into categories like that, maybe it makes sense for um, the stubborn people. Okay, or maybe sometimes you can be a bit sarcastic. Sometimes I do this. Yeah, most of the time I do this. I say, well, some people treat respirator like superhero mask. Yeah, they think that they are invincible when wearing it. Okay, if only safety is as simple as that. Because the problem is that when you wear a respirator, you have to make sure that it is no fit with the curves of the face. You need to change it on time. Okay, and things like that. All right.
Thank you for the insightful answers. Okay, there is a participant who raised his hand. It is from Dr. Dedi Francisca.
Yeah, Dr.
Hello,
Dedi.
Dr. Dedi. Are you still there? No. Okay. Do you want to turn on your microphone or camera maybe, or you want to write the question in the chat box? Or you cannot unmute also. Okay. It is already unmute. Can you try to speak,
Okay,
please?
it's already unmute. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to asking about what measures can individuals take to improve the maintain personal hygiene in situation where the company doesn't provide sufficient facilities.
What measures can we take in terms of personal hygiene?
Yeah.
Ah,
What measures can
companies.
individuals take, to improve and maintain personal hygiene in situation where the company doesn't provide sufficient facilities?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the question. I think it's
Okay.
particularly when it comes to personal hygiene, it is as simple as um, washing hands, right? And maybe
Yeah.
what you're talking about is when companies do not provide wash basins, right? Okay. Alternatively, it is okay to use like hand sanitizers. Yeah. Uh, However, I would say the gold standard is still washing hands with soap and water. Okay, because it strips off the the outer layer of the virus or bacteria. Okay, that's how we kill it. Using sanitizers are also the same. Okay, but you have to understand the chemical risk that it comes along with it. Okay, in terms of uh, it may strip off the skin moisture from your hand. Okay, that's why it is only used for certain situations when there is no water. Yeah, but if you can convince the top management to talk about what is more practical, okay, then maybe they can try to consider providing hand wash basin for that purpose. Okay, in Malaysia, um, most places, including schools, they used not to have all these facilities before COVID. But because of COVID, then well now we can see that it is possible to renovate, to do some modifications to the piping system and provide a wash basin um, as soon as you enter a school compound. Yeah, that is to prevent people from bringing contaminated hands. Yeah, so we try to encourage people to practice personal hygiene as much as possible.
Yeah, okay. Is there any feedback from Dr. JD? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, actually there are two more questions, doctor, but however, because the time is up, should we continue to answer the question or uh, we have to finish the session?
It's up to
Is it
you.
all?
It's up to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, okay, two more question and I will read it quickly. The question from Aviva. Okay. Aviva asks, in the disaster response practices, what indicators or parameters are used to assess whether an industrial hygiene support intervention has truly succeeded in protecting the community? Is success measured only by the fact that everyone survives and remains healthy, or are there any other indicators?
Okay. All right. The short answer I would say is no. Success is not just everyone survive and looks fine. right? Because absence of visible harm, okay, doesn't always mean absence of exposure. Okay, in hygiene, it is about when there is hazard, there should be exposure. Because if there is hazard but there is no exposure, then we don't need to worry about that. Okay, now let's try to look at multiple layers of indicators. There can be exposure control indicators. Okay, like exposures, are they actually controlled below acceptable limits? Okay, when you have air monitoring results, okay, if it is below exposure limit, okay, when you have surface contamination level, yeah, so this is the most direct evidence. It's not guessing but measured control. So it's, it's clear. It can maybe in terms of responders, okay, do they, or the public, do they develop symptoms? Do they have irritation? Were they dizzy? Okay, in the long term, maybe you can follow up with medical surveillance, yeah, because some effects do not appear immediately. It takes a long time to develop. Now they look just fine, but after several days or weeks, maybe, there can be symptoms. Okay, what about the PPE? Okay, look at the PPE. Are they appropriate and properly used? Okay, they are available. They have PPE, but again, as I said, we train hygienists to be paranoid, to be critical, and think critically. Having PPE does not mean that PPE is effective. Okay, what about the controls, other controls that they have? Do they only rely on PPE or maybe some others? If they rely on PPE, that's a red flag. Okay, uh, maybe you can also consider, monitoring the data from time to time. What happened to Sungai Kim Kim is that until today, we monitor the gas because the school is located near an industry area. So that is when we have to make sure that the level of gas is kept minimum, as low as possible, all the time. Yeah. So if it flags a high reading, then something needs to be prepared, something needs to be done. Okay, look at the responders. Okay, do they understand, follow safety procedures? Okay, because it is visible in the behavior, not just documents. Yeah, they understand, but do they follow it? Okay, and of course, in terms of communication, okay, are the risks clearly communicated in terms of the public? Do they understand what the hazard is, or do they just follow when they were told to evacuate? Yeah, what not to do, what to do, what not to do. They have to be clear of why. Okay, because when it is well justified, then people will be easy to follow. And maybe in terms of um, uh, post incident, okay, after what happened, um, a successful intervention does not just protect what happens today, but it would also improve in the next response. It would also, protect if it happens again in the future. But usually in the future, we'll try to improve it a bit. Yeah. So what we can say is that success in IH is not just no harm observed. If the risk is understood, okay, if it is controlled, uh, and continuously verified, that is when you realize that it is what it is supposed to be. Yeah. When you think everything looks fine, mm, well, you have to check the data, just to be sure. Okay, Chita.
Okay. One last question from Atikatu Salasia. She asks about uh, regarding implementation across each phase of incident management. What are the biggest challenges in consistently integrating risk identification and control, and what strategies can be used to ensure continuity across those phases?
Okay. Mm, the biggest challenge is not a lack of knowledge. Yeah. It is the lack of continuity, right? So each phase, yeah, in terms of pre-planning, response, and consequence management, it often operates in silos. Yeah. Different teams, different priorities, different assumptions. Yeah. So risk is identified in pre-planning, but during response, it may not be recognized. People don't realize that it's there. And lessons from response may not be carried into recovery or future planning. That's the problem. Yeah. Um, so some of the challenges, yeah, across phases in terms of critical hazard information. Okay, maybe it doesn't flow smoothly. Okay, what was known before incident is not always available during response. We know about this and that, we prepare, but during the response, it's not available. Okay, maybe during an emergency, well, you know that decisions must be made fast. Yeah, so a detailed risk assessment from pre-planning may be simplified or maybe ignored. Yeah, depending on the situation. Um, when you work with multiple agencies, different agencies interpret risk differently. Okay, we have the same hazard but different decisions. Some people think that this is just this chemical, not a big deal. Okay, some agencies might look at it from the perspective of how it pollutes the environment. Okay, some agencies might think that we have to save as many people as possible. Some who do not understand about the limitation of PPE, they might over rely on PPE. Okay, let's just provide PPE to make people happy, to make people feel safe. And okay, so human factors should also be considered in terms of fatigue, stress, yeah, um, and maybe communication gaps. You may not be able to execute them under pressure. Yeah, when we have a good plan, okay, but because people are fatigued, people are stressed in such situation, so it's hard. Okay, so how do we make sure the continuity across the phases? Okay, you might want to have an integrated framework, okay, in terms of a common framework across all phases. Okay, use the same terminology, don't use something, jargons that may be confusing, okay, for hazard identification and control. Ya, ntar dibilang hazard identification-nya nyebut A, tapi in control udah nyebut B. Jadi nggak nyambung kan? Okay. Uh, you have to have a strong pre-planning in terms of developing exposure scenarios, yeah, control strategies. Okay, so that during emergencies, during response, we don't start from zero. At least we have something, walaupun a bit, yeah. Um, You can also establish systems for rapid data flow, monitoring results, field observation. The data is collected and it is analyzed quickly. Okay, because people are curious to know what are they exposed to. Is it high? Is it low? Yeah, but they do not understand what is it all about. Yeah, so our task is to make sure that it is conveyed to them. Okay. Mm, what else? Protocols. Yeah, protocols, checklists must be standardized so that when people are stressed, yeah, in hard times like that, they rely on a clear structure. What needs to be done? Okay, they are not left hanging like, what do we do next? How long are we going to be here? How do we get the latest information updates? Yeah. Training is also important. Okay, you have to train responders, not just for response, okay, but also to understand the full life cycle of risk. Okay, and of course, it is also good to have a post-incident um, learning system. Yeah, because we want to feed them back into pre-planning. Whatever that has happened, whatever that we have tried, is it good? If it is not good, then improve, or maybe just check it out then of the plan for the next one and before we try to work on it again, okay, for preparing for the next emergency. Yeah, so it's about doing things consistently across all phases, okay, and we have to have effective integration. Okay, it is not about doing things perfectly in one phase. Okay, if it is perfect in one phase but the next one is messy, then it's pointless.
Thank you so much for the interesting questions from our students, and thank you, Dr. Ismaniza, for the clear and valuable responses. However, due to the time limitations, we will now come to the end of our discussion session. And as a brief summary, today we learned that industrial hygiene plays a crucial role in the emergency response. It requires unique knowledge and skills, especially the ability to respond quickly, assess hazards, and make fast decisions under the pressure. And we also learned that disaster preparedness is not only about equipment, but also about planning, competent personnel, and readiness. And effective emergency response needs multidisciplinary competencies, including industrial hygiene, safety, environmental health, emergency planning, and also strong individual skills such as physical and mental resilience, computer literacy, organizational ability, etc. And in addition, one of the key messages from today's lecture is the importance of coordination among all stakeholders, continuous training, and the proper use of PPE to ensure responder safety and effective emergency operations. And actually, I get a very interesting quotes for today that being an industrial hygienist, we have to be paranoid or highly vigilant. Well, overall, for today's session reminds us that successful emergency response depends not only on tools and system, but also on skilled people, teamwork, preparedness, and also professionalism. I think that's the summary from today's session. Maybe is there any closing statement from Dr. Ismaniza before we close the session?
I just want to thank everyone here, okay, for joining the session, okay, and engage in the, in the two-way communication, asking questions, very constructive, uh, what comments and questions, that opens up the minds of the others. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, once again, on behalf of Universitas Diponegoro and the Undergraduate Occupational Safety and Health Study Program, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to Dr. Ismaniza Ismail for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us today. We truly appreciate your time, generosity, and meaningful contribution to our students' learning experience. And we also would like to thank all lecturers and students who already participating actively in today's session. We hope this lecture will be beneficial and inspire us in our academic journey. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you again, Dr.
Yeah.
Ismaniza.
Wabarakatuh.
Thank you so
Happy World Wash
much.
Day. Happy World Wash Day today.
Okay. Happy World Host Day. Terima kasih teman-teman sudah join ya dalam sesi ini. Silakan boleh leave dan selamat melanjutkan hari. Oh, can you please share the topic? Oke, nanti saya coba untuk mintakan ke Dr. Ismaniza barangkali beliau berkenan gitu nggih. Nanti Pak Didi mungkin bisa WA saya. Saya akan ketik nomor HP saya di chat box. Terima kasih Dokter Dedi sudah join dalam sesi hari ini. Nanti boleh silahkan kontak saya ya lewat WA. Terima kasih.